Hello, everybody. My name is Henry, and today I'll be covering easy handguns to spot in movies. You know, because easy way to impress people is showing people your gun knowledge. And yeah, here's some common ones you can see in there's gotta be at least one of these in almost every action movie. All right. Okay, so first we have Glocks. Now, Glocks are very similar, because it's hard to differentiate one Glock to another, because they all look almost exactly the same, And plus, the difference between one Glock and another could be complete internal, because some Glocks they just have different barrels and different magazines, Yeah, so honestly, it's gonna be so hard to tell, Yeah, the easiest way to point out a Glock is just to look at the polymer hand grip, and as well as the very rectangular square top thing. All right, next we have the Colt 1911. Now, this gun is iconic, so it shows up in a lot of movies, and mainly because it was used in both World War One, World War Two, and I believe, I haven't checked this, but most likely the Vietnam War. Yeah, it is very common to find, because it's just been used in so many conflicts around the world. You go back in time only 60 years, turn on the news television, and yeah, you're likely to see one. Yeah, and yeah, it also has a good amount of stopping power with its 45 ACP. Yeah, it is just America's gun, made by John Moses Browning, and that's pretty much all I have to say on it. Now, whenever pointing out Colt 1911, you kind of have to be a little bit careful, because there's a lot of guns that copied the Colt 1911's homework. Yeah, because over to the left, there's a 10 millimeter gun by Smith and Wesson. I don't know the exact model. And in the middle, there's a Russian-made Tokarev, and on the right, there's a Browning High Power. It was made. It was used the same blueprints as made by the guy who made the 1911. So that is why it has a lot of similarities. But the 1911 is so old that all its blueprints are in the public domain now. So yeah, there's just a lot of people copying its homework. It's gonna be hard to point out which gun is a 1911, which is not. Yeah. All right. Next we have the Beretta M9. Now this gun did replace the 1911, and it saw military use from about 1985 to about 2017. Then they just replaced it with Glocks, like law enforcement do. And yeah, you can definitely spot this gun by looking at the front end of the barrel, because it has that very unique shape as well as that rounded top. Yeah, overall, it's a pretty nice looking gun. Next, we have Sig Sauer, and when you're watching a movie, you can tell someone's holding a Sig Sauer because the gun they're holding is freaking ugly. All right, yeah. No wonder they call it Sig Sauer, because it puts a sour taste in my eyes somehow. All right, next we have very historical German guns, So first we have the Luger, which it's very historical and very German. So you're most likely gonna see one of those in a documentary or something. Then we have the Walter PPK. Yeah. This one's also pretty popular, especially because it was used by the original James Bond. Yeah. And next we have my favorite of the three, the Walther P38. Now, this gun is freaking awesome because this gun transformed into Megatron in the original G1 Transformers universe. So I think that's wicked cool. Yeah. When you're trying to spot one of these in a movie, you can tell a gun is a Luger by definitely its handle, as well as the top part of it. So whenever a Luger shoots, like it creates like a triangle at the top. You're definitely gonna want to see a video of it because it's a very unique action. Now the Walther PPK is a little bit harder, but you can probably spot it with how small it is, and plus that little slant up at the barrel from the trigger guard to the barrel. You can almost do use Pythagorean theorem on it, you know? Yeah. And I have no idea how to spot the Walther P38, you know? Because, like, it has a pretty unique barrel design, as well as it's pretty chunky and, like, the near the back end of it, you know, is, like, has a very large grip. So I think that is a pretty good way of spotting it, you know? All right, next we have guns and westerns. Now, most of these are specific to the genre, but it's still a nice spot anyway, because sometimes they peek out into other genres, you know? Yeah. All right, first we have the Colt Single Action Army. Now, this gun is very common to find in westerns. It is like the Glock of westerns. You can, like, it's really hard to watch a western that doesn't have a Colt Single Action Army, you know? Like, even times when there shouldn't be a Colt Single Action Army, like in Marvel's What If, they released an episode that takes place in 1872, right? But they have the Colt Single Action Army in it, which came out in 1873, you know? That's like having someone carrying a 1911 in 1910, you know? It's very, like, there's plenty of other guns you could have chose. You didn't have to choose the Colt Single Action Army. Yeah, an easy way to spot the Colt Single Action Army is definitely in its grip, as well as the ramrod at the barrel to release the casings, you know? Because, like, typically revolvers nowadays, they usually have a swing out cylinders, right? But there's also two other ways. There's top rake, and on the Colt Single Action Army and plenty of other guns, you flip out a thing on the side, and yeah, then you load the bullets in there, and then the ramrod releases the bullets, you know? You can see more about it on the gunslinging video I released a while back with Jared. Yeah, it's a pretty good video. I suggest you watch it. Yeah, and also, like, the rounded backside, you know? Yeah. Like, overall, it is a classic Western gun, but I do have to warn you, like, a lot of guns, especially as of recent, have copied the Colt Single Action Army's homework, you know? Yeah, because, like, they're, nowadays, you can buy, like, magnums, you know, like, that have the flip out side note, like, with, like, really high calibers, you know? Yeah. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the Colt Single Action Army. All right, now we have the 1875 Smith & Wesson Schofield. And, yeah, this gun's pretty easy to spot with its, like, triangular thing at the top of the barrel, you know? It's not just a round barrel, you know? Yeah, and plus this gun's also a top rake revolver, you know? So, the gun swings open, and you load the shells from the top, then you close it back up. Yeah. It's definitely a very nice looking gun. This is one of my holy grails of guns. Yeah. But it's definitely more rare to see than the Colt Single Action Army. But you can still spot it every now and then, you know? Alright, up next we have the 1851 Colt Navy. Now, this gun is a little bit rare, you know? Because it is a cap and ball revolver. And, yeah. And you have to, in order to load a cap and ball revolver, you have to pour in the little gunpowder, ram the projectile down, and also you have to stick a cap on the back, But yeah, it is definitely easy to spot with the ramrod under the barrel, Yeah, but it doesn't see much use because of how long it takes to reload. You don't. It's hard to direct a shootout when you only have like 6 shots, Because like even the Colt single action army, that takes like at least 10 seconds to load in a full 6 shots. Yeah. But it is a problem with all cap and ball revolvers. But overall, it's still a pretty nice gun, But the Colt Navy does have a very similar looking cousin with the Colt 1860 Army. Now, both of the guns can be seen in most Civil War movies and whatnot. But the Colt 1860 Army is different because it's not only chambered in a higher caliber, but it's also much larger, And yeah, it definitely is much more rounded. Like if you look at the part in front of the barrel, like behind the ramrod, it's definitely more rounded in that area. So, yeah. Well, that is all I have for you today. If y'all like this type of content, please hit that like button. And yeah, I'll see y'all later.